Hello everybody, a glass half dead here. Let's crack through the annual. For those of you that missed it, I have just done my Into the Dark Man Reads book. Hour and 50 minutes, what a bargain, what a bargain. Now we have the annual 2022 Man Reads book. Just to be clear, 4 of these teams, we already know I'm not going to read them. On the off chance you are brand new to Kill Team, Warp Coven, the Hunter Clade, the Worm Blade, yes, Clade and Blade, that's right, and the Void Dancers all already have videos on my channel if you want to learn a little bit more about them. I'm not going to be talking about them here. They were originally released in a White Dwarf and now they are in here. As you can see, they exist. Don't worry, this microphone will be leaving very soon. What we're really talking about here are kind of, there are 4 things for the annual for people that already have these or are using Wikipedia or have the White Dwarfs. For these teams already, they already exist, cool. We are looking at the Elucidian Starstriders. Can I just say, her boob plate is ridiculous. What's happening here? Anyway, we have the Gellerpox Infected, we have multiplayer battles, and we have narrative. Between all of that, I think this is still going to be a real long read through. Unlike Into the Dark, where I made a big point about how actually reading through the entirety of Into the Dark was the first thing I did. Was the last thing I did, and that I had already made all of my content for Into the Dark before reading through. So I gave a very informed opinion, I feel, and was able to skip reading through certain rules. In this, I have not read through this. The reason for that is that I got Into the Dark a little bit earlier than I got the annual. But you know what? I've set my room up so that I can do this now. So I'm doing it now. Before having read through it properly, I've had a very, very quick flick through it, but not to the point where I can actually do it properly. Okay. All right. Let's do this. Also, you'll note it's so fresh. I haven't even had time to spiral bound it. So I do apologize. Mainly to myself, because I'm going to have to just ruin this spine, aren't I? Which really makes me sad. As somebody that likes books, and especially Warhammer books, I'm legit sad by that. This is a very thick book. How many pages? 150? 126? 152. 152. Whereas, for example, Into the Dark only got up to 119, 120. How about that? Okay, so let's make sure we are aligned. Mission packs, critical ops, shadow ops, critical ops. This is the sentries. We've already seen the sentries, but very cool. They've got a last stand mission pack in here now, which is like a way for you to play horde based. The defender or the attacker is just a horde with never-ending troops until the defender dies or completes their mission. We've also got multiplayer, so you can play up to 3 players. We also have a little studio Kill Team showcase, which I'm not really going to look at it because, that's kind of visual. You should go and buy this yourself to look at the cool pictures. And then we have the Elucidian Starstriders and the Gellerpox Infected. That's what we're going to be talking about. We're not going to look at all of this. Okay. With that said, I would like to just throw it out there briefly. Hey, what's up? Hi, I'm Glass Half Dead. If you don't know me, if this is your first time, you're thinking about whether or not you should get the annual, allow me to answer that for you right now. I think that the annual is a brilliant place to start. If you've only just taken an interest with Kill Team Into the Dark and you're thinking, should I go back and pick up the compendium? Should I pick up the core rules? What do I need? I'm going to do a full video about this later, but I actually think, and hey, if you're an experienced player, let me know your thoughts on this advice, because I will be doing a video talking about this in the future. But I actually think that buying the annual and Into the Dark is now the best way to get started in the game. Yes, a lot of people are now going to go and say, oh, just use Wikipedia, you don't need to buy the rules. That's fine. Good for you. That's great that that's your advice. That's fine. But a lot of people like the books and are interested in how to get started legitimately. Obviously, if you don't care about that stuff, yeah, you don't have to buy this stuff. But I think this gives a great number of teams. I mean, it's 6 teams, plus some cool alternative variations on how to play the game, plus Into the Dark, another 2 teams, and a full set of terrain. I do think this is now how you start the game. Let me know your thoughts. That is my official advice to any new players. Hello everybody, Glass Half Dead here from the editing stage of this video. Yes, that's right, there's actual editing. What? I don't know either. Long story short, the way the annual is laid out is you start with two sorts of missions packs, and then you get into the cool stuff, which are the Gellerpox and the Elucidian Starstriders. I'm going to be honest, I figured that most people probably want to see those, so I'm actually cutting the video here, putting both of those first, and then the video will continue seamlessly, I'm sure, with the multiplayer missions and then the last stand missions. But there are timestamps for everything, so go and check out what you specifically want. I figured that, though, for those of you just watching through this as a podcast type thing that don't want to jump around, you probably actually want the Starstriders and the Gellerpox. Okay, let's get back to it. But who cares? Let's talk Elucidian Starstriders and Gellerpox Infected. That's what this book is. That's what this video is. That's what this read-through is. Let's do it. Elucidian Starstriders. Recon Security. Operatives. Elucia Vane, Canid. Death Cult Executioner. Lectromeister. Rejuvenat Adept. Voidmaster. 3 Voidsmen with Lasgun and Gunbutt. Voidsman, Rotor Cannon, Gunbutt. 10 models. Let's do it. And it adds, Elucia Vane can only be added to your roster or data slate once. I assume the reason for that is because, and haven't read it yet, but there is some sort of, when you add her to a data slate, she can take a certain thing. Or like she can have different loadouts maybe, and it's saying, no, you just get to pick one. All right. Reputation to maintain. Reveal this tag up the first time a fight or shoot action is declared for a leader operative, friendly or enemy. When this TAC op is revealed, both players start a reputation tally. If both players reveal this TAC op simultaneously, only start one reputation tally each. Add 1 to your reputation tally each time a friendly leader operative inflicts a point of damage on an enemy operative. Note that, in the rare instances an enemy operative did not lose wound as a result of a point of damage, you would still add 1 to the reputation tally. Okay. So can't be denied with Feel No Pains. If your reputation tally is 12 or more, you score 1 VP. At the end of the battle, if your reputation tally is greater than that of your opponents, you score 1 VP. I think, and again, I have had a quick look at Elucia Vane, I think getting her to 12 damage on an enemy is going to be pretty easy. Let's see. So, easy to do. Is it going to be, and then whether or not you get the second VP is obviously going to be highly dependent on who the opponent is. Claim for House Vane. Oh, it rhymes. Reveal this tag up at the target reveal step, the first turning point. Your opponent selects one objective marker. It cannot be an objective marker that can be blah. At the end of any turning point, if friendly operatives are controlling that objective marker, you score 1 VP. At the end of the battle, if friendly operatives are controlling... That's an interesting one. In general, I just very much do not like a TAC op where your opponent can select how you score it, essentially. But you know what? On some maps, that could be really good. Yeah. Investigate motive force. You can reveal this TAC op at the target reveal step of any turning point. The second time a friendly Lectromeister operative performs the investigate motive force action below, you score 1 VP. The third time he does it, you score another VP. The friendly Lectromeister operative can perform the following mission action. Investigate motive force, 1 AP. An operative can perform this action while it controls an objective marker that is not within your drop zone and has not been investigated for motive... Ooh. That sounds really tough to complete. I'm going to say don't pick that. Yeah. Okay. Oh, look at this. Abilities, craziness. That's right. Support assets, just like Vet Guard. Okay, abilities. Over the following pages, blah, 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 blah. Up to 3 times per game, you can use a warrant of trade ability below. Each ability specifies when it can be used. You must inform your opponent when you do so, and you cannot use the same ability more than once per game. So you have 6 warrants of trade. Coerce. In the select drop zone step, after rolling off to decide attacker and defender, you can re-roll your dice. Okay. When do we do that? I'll just use warrant of trade ability. Each ability specifies when it can be used. You must inform your opponent. Okay. Okay, yeah, all right. Coordinate. At the end of the select a kill team step, add 1 CP to your pool. Oh, so just straight up start with an extra CP. That sounds pretty good. adaptable terms. At the start of the select tac op step, you can select tac ops from 2 of your archetypes rather than 1. I mean, that's pretty nice. So, yeah, it's pretty nice. Consideration. Select 6 additional points worth of equipment for the battle. Once we look at their equipment, that could either be amazing or terrible. Explore. Select and resolve an additional scouting option. It must be a different option to your original selection, and initiative is still determined by your original selection. Yep. Seize. In the initiative phase, reroll your dice. Honestly, I think +1 CP and consideration are probably the go-tos, and then maybe, I imagine, you'd hold off on a initiative roll for when you really need that initiative. I think those sound like the immediate cool ones. Privateer support assets. Once per firefight phase, when you would activate a ready friendly operative, you can use a privateer support asset instead. Each time you do so, select one of the ranged weapons opposite and perform a shoot action with it. After you have done so, your opponent activates one of their operatives as normal. You cannot select a ranged weapon you selected in the previous turning point, but you can in a turning point thereafter. For example, if you selected Archaeotech Beam in the first turning point, you couldn't select it in the second turning point, but you could in the third turning point. If you did so, you couldn't subsequently select it in the fourth turning point. Cool. When making shooting attacks, when making shooting attacks with the ranged weapons on this page, for the purposes of line of sight, draw visibility and cover lines from a friendly Navis, excluding Canid, or Elucia Vein. Let's quickly look at the specials. So Elucia Vein, yeah. Imperium Medic. Okay, so the special characters can't do this, but the Navis and Elucia can. For the purposes of the weapon special rules, it is treated as if a friendly operative were making the shooting attack. Cool. Other than command rerolls, you cannot use any strategic or tactical points for shooting attacks made by privateer support assets. Cool. Archaeotech Beam. Oh gosh, what's this? 4 attacks, hitting on 4s, 6/7, AP2, barrage. So this is just straight up an orbital bombardment, right? I mean, that's pretty good. Guided shell. 5 attacks, hitting on 4s, 3/5, barrage, blast circle. Gosh, that's good. Cluster bomb. Cluster bomb, 5 attacks, hitting on 4s, 2/3, barrage, blast 3. Man. Sounds really good. Like, all of them sound really good, to the point that I have to now think, oh, is the team going to suck? Because these seem really good. I mean, okay, so you still need to have draw line of sight. So for purposes of line of sight, draw visibility and cover line. So so you can't just shoot a random person. And there's no, indirect. So, okay, all right. So just basically, one of your guys, once a turn, gets a really cool gun. Nice. Strategic ploys, lethal proximity. Everything's 1 CP? Yes, everything's 1 CP. Until the end of the turning point, each time a friendly Starstrider operative makes a shooting attack against a target within 6 inches of it, in the roll attack dice over that shooting attack, you can reroll one of your attack dice. Okay, cool. That's easy, that's an easy one. Reroll an attack dice in shooting when you're within 6. Stake claim. Place one of your claim tokens anywhere in the kill zone. Each time a friendly Starstrider operative fights in combat or makes a shooting attack against an enemy operative within 3 inches of that token before rolling your attack dice, retain 1 as a successful normal hit without rolling it. At the end of the turning point, remove that claim token. I mean, that sounds really good. Place a claim token anywhere in the kill zone. Okay, yeah. Great, sounds good. Undaunted Explorers. Until the end of the turning point, each time a friendly Starstrider operative that is within 2 inches of an objective marker or within 6 inches of your opponent's drop zone fights in combat or a shooting attack is made against it, in the resolved successful hit step of that combat or shooting attack, you can halve the damage inflicted on that friendly operative, rounding up from one of your opponent's successful hits. Okay, so it's like a demi just a scratch. So you're halving the damage, you're not completely ignoring it, but nice. And you have to be close to an objective marker. New Frontier. Until the end of the turning point, each time a friendly Starstrider operative, excluding a Canid operative, performs a normal move action, it can move an additional 1 inch for that move, but must finish that move closer to your opponent's drop zone. Okay. I mean, in general, that's very easy to do. You know, it doesn't mean that they have to move as close as they can to the enemy's drop zone. It's just They have to move slightly forwards. Combined arms, tactical ploys. Use this tactical ploy after rolling your attack dice for a shooting attack made by a friendly Starstrider operative. If the target of that attack is an enemy operative that was targeted by another friendly Starstrider operative with a shooting attack during that turn point, you can reroll any or all of your attack dice. Oh, okay. So one guy shoots, then the second one shoots, you get relentless. Very nice, actually. I mean, yeah, we will see, because that works with anyone. So, yeah, we will definitely see how cool that is. Obviously, it's only on one enemy model, but cool. Survivalist. Use this tactical ploy. Hold on. If the target of that attack is an enemy operative that was targeted. Okay, so it only has to have been targeted by another model. So you can use your crappy armsman with a las gun to shoot, but then you don't even have to do damage. Then you can come in with your somebody else. Boom. Full relentless. Very nice. Survivalist. Use a tactical ploy when a friendly Starstrider operative more than 3 inches from enemy operatives is activated. That friendly operative regains 4 lost wounds. You can only use the tactical ploy for each friendly operative once. Oh, that's pretty nice. Okay, yeah. Sweet. Friendly operative just regain 4 lost wounds. Okay, sorry, yeah, I'm reading it like, does it have to be within X of the medic? But no. Daring, use this tactical ploy when a friendly Starstrider Navis operative is activated, add 1 to its APL. Excellent. We are all about the +1 APL. They are great. Well drilled. Use this tactical ploy when a friendly Navis operative is activated, select one other ready friendly Navis operative visible to and within 6 inches of that operative that is eligible to be activated. After that first friendly operative has been activated, you can immediately activate that other friendly operative. Oh, cool. So this is essentially, for 1 CP, breach and clear, which is what the Navy guys get. Oh my god, are these guys better than the Navy just because... Oh my... Okay, let's stay focused. Let's stay focused. Don't freak out. Okay. Elucidian Vein. So, movement 3, APL 2, Def 3, save 4 up, 8 wounds. Okay. Digital Laser. 4 attacks hitting on 3s, damage 0/0. Range is only 3, but lethal 3 up, indirect, limited, so it can only be used once, mortal wounds 2. That is a weird weapon. Okay. Yeah, that's very strange. Heirloom Relic Pistol. 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 4, 5, range... What? Range 6 with indirect P1. And it's a 4/5. So you have essentially always a crack grenade. Oh my gosh. Okay. Alright. Fair enough. Cool. Disruption Field, 4-up invuln. Predator, each time this operative is activated for a free fight or shoot action during that action. Oh, so you essentially have APL 3. Merciless, each time this operative fights in combat or makes a shooting attack, if it's against an enemy operative that has fewer than its starting number of wounds remaining, and the rolled attack dice step of that combat or shooting attack, you can reroll one of your attack dice. Oh my gosh, okay. Well, she seems solid. Good luck keeping her alive, but she seems solid, so that's pretty cool. Canid, Vicious Bite. Oh, sorry, your movement 4, so 8 inches. Still Def 3, which is good. Save 5 up, wounds 6. So you will die to a stiff freeze. Vicious Bite, 4 attacks, hitting on 3, 3, 4, rending. Canid, this operative cannot perform mission actions and cannot be equipped with equipment unless Canid operative is specified. Each time this operative is activated, it can ignore the first distance of a circle which travels for a climb, drop, or traverse during that activation. It means you can just jump over barriers or barricades. Nice. Loyal Companion, each time an enemy operative fights... Hold on, this is going to be identical. This is identical to the Kroot Hound, isn't it? Just continuing GW's desire to have identical rules, but for some reason give them different names, right? Yeah, okay. Right, I'm not going to read it. I'm going to tell you what it means. If you are in melee, along with one of your other operatives, friendly operatives, you've both been charged or just in melee for whatever reason, You can opt for your Canid to take damage instead of the actual target, almost like Savior Protocols from Tau with a drone. In addition, if a friendly operative is charged whilst you are within 3 inches of it, then in your turn, you can perform a free charge action. But you have to finish within engagement range of that enemy. So, unique actions, retrieve. This is identical to Recruit Hound again. Perform a free dash, fallback, or normal move action, and you can pick up something on the way. Interesting. Okay. Here's the exciting things, right? The three dudes of the apocalypse. I think that's what those are called. Okay. Oh, we've got APL 3. Yes, please. Movement 6 inch, APL 3, save 6 up, wounds 8. Dart mask. 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 1/1. Range 6, lethal 5 up, silent, stun. Okay. I mean, obviously the intent is that you're not really doing it to do damage, you're trying to debuff them. Hence you have stun, silent, okay, fine. Power weapon, 5 attacks, hitting on 2s, 4, 6, lethal 5 up. I mean, that's a melee, that is. Rapid reflexes, 5 up invuln. You're still going to die nice and quick there. Duelist, each time this operative fights in combat, in the resolve successful hit step of that combat, you can resolve 1 successful hit before the attacker. If you do so, that successful hit must be used to parry. Yep, nice. Zealot, each time this operative would lose a wound, roll 1d6, on a 6th the wound is not lost. Would have preferred a 5 up, but okay, it's fine. Yeah, like, you've still only got 8 wounds, you are going to go down quickly. You are also an assassin, 1 AP. Change this operative's order. This operative cannot perform this action while within engagement range of an enemy operative. Oh, interesting. Okay. I'm trying to think, like, I mean, the most common time you would use that is if you charge, fight, get the kill, and then you might want to swap back to conceal so that you're then unable to be shot, which is cool, I guess. Electromeister. Movement 3, APL 2, defense 3, save 4 up, wounds 8. Voltaic pistol, 4 attacks, hitting on 4s, 4/4, range 6. Rending, splash 1. I love me a splash. Gun butt, 3, 4 up, 2, 3. Voltergeist array. Each time a shooting attack is made against a friendly Elucidian Starstrider operative within 2 inches, within 2 circle of this operative, and you roll defense dice for that shooting attack, you can reroll 1 of your defense dice. Shooting attack is made against. Okay, cool. So you're giving all the guys around you a little buff. Reroll the defense dice. Pretty good, actually. Missionary of the Martian Creed. Once per turning point during this operative action, it can perform a mission action from 1 less action point. That's pretty nice as well. Especially with Into the Dark and how many mission actions are needed. Voltergeist Field, 1 AP. Until the end of the turning point, each time an enemy operative ends a move within circle of this operative, inflict d6 mortal wounds on that enemy operative. Oh, wow, that's great. This operative cannot perform this action while within engagement range of an enemy operative. Oh, wait, until the end of the turning point. Okay, yeah, sure. So this is, for example, you could make a normal move and turn on Voltergeist Field. And then if you get charged, they take d6. It's pretty cool. Perform the Voltergeist charge. Oh, but you can only do field or charge. Voltergeist charge until the end of the turning point. The Voltaic pistol, this operative is equipped against lethal 4+. Special rule. This operative cannot perform this action while within engagement range of an enemy operative. Interesting. Till the end of the turn. That's going to be really difficult to use, though, because you'd have to already be within range. Then do Voltergeist charge, then shoot, because you're only APL 2. Yes, you can. There was a ploy to give yourself, daring. Oh, but that's only on Navis. Oh, okay. Nope, you just have to already be in range for that to work. So I imagine he's quite powerful if the enemy's crazy enough to end their turn within 6 of you, I guess. Rejuvenate Adept. 3, 2, 1, 3, 5 up, 7. Okay. Las Pistol. That is a Las Pistol. Scalpel Claw. 3 attacks, hitting on 4s, 3, 4, rending. We then have the Normalizer Helm. While a friendly Starstrider operative is within 6 inches of this operative, it is not treated as being injured. Only ignore the modifier to its movement characteristic as a result of being injured if it is activated within 6 inches of this operative. Okay, nice. Battlefield Surgery, once per turning point. Oh, this is just going to be the standard medic thing, but I'm going to have to read the whole thing, aren't I? Once per turning point, the first time another friendly Elucidian Starstrider operative would be incapacitated while visible to and within 3 inches of this operative and not within engagement range of an enemy operative. If this operative is not within engagement range of an enemy operative, this operative can revive it. That friendly operative is not incapacitated, has 3 wounds remaining, and if it was a shooting attack, any remaining attack dice are discarded. That friendly operative can then perform a free dash action, but must finish that move within 1 inch of this operative, subtract 1 from both operatives' APL. Well, let's time another. Okay, it does say another friendly, so this is the updated medic wording. So he can't, she can't revive herself. Healing Serum. Also, note you come up with 3 wounds remaining, as opposed to 1, which is pretty good. Select 1 friendly Starstrider operative visible to and within 1 inch of this operative. That operative gains D3 plus 3 lost wounds. An operative cannot be selected, blah, 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 blah. Cool. Pretty nice. That is a good medic. Except you obviously only have 7 wounds. Okay, Void Master. You have the, what are you? You're 3, 2, 1, 3, 5 up, 8. So, Void Master. Artificer Shotgun. 4 attacks, hitting on 2s, 4-4, range 6. I mean, that's what a shotgun should be, yeah. Or long range, 4 attacks, hitting on 4, 2-3. Las Pistol, 4, 3 up, 2-3, range 6 balanced. And you do have both of those, so either one. Disciplinarian, while a friendly Voidsman operative is within 2 circle of this operative, weapons that friendly operative is equipped with gain the balance special. Pretty nice. Hardy, once per battle, and the resolve successful history of a combat shooting attack, you can ignore the damage inflicted on this operative from 1 attack dice. That's pretty nice. You know, like a once per battle free, just a scratch. Uncompromising fire, 1 AP. Make a shooting attack with the Las Pistol and make a shooting attack with the close range profile of the Artificer Shotgun this operative is equipped with in any order. This action is treated as a shoot action. This operative cannot perform this action if it has a conceal order or while within engagement range of an enemy operative. Very cool. I approve. I approve. That sounds pretty fun. So basically, you would never normally shoot unless you're doing the long range with the shotgun. You would always do this, and then you get to fire both the shotgun and the Las Pistol. And then get Voidsman. 7 wounds, APL 2, save 5. You get las guns, which are standard las guns. 4 attacks, hitting on 4s, 2-3. And you get the rotor cannon, which is 6 attacks, hitting on 4s, 3-4. Fusillade, heavy, but there is a way to make it relentless with deploy, essentially. Which 6 attacks, hitting on 4s. No, you're still not going to use Fusillade, sorry. Okay, equipment. Now, obviously, remember the warrant of trade. One of them was 6 additional equipment points. If grenades were still spammable, that would be amazing, as it would just be 2 free crack grenades, but let's see. Flash Visor for 1 AP. Flash Visor, you can ignore any or all modifiers to this operative's APL, and it is not affected by the stun critical hit rule. Carapace Armor, 2 EP. Voidsman or Void Master, so only these 4 possible picks. Sorry, there's 5. There's the Void Master, there's 3 normals, and there's the Rotor Cannon. There's 5 possibles. 4 up armor save instead of 5 up, which is not bad. Hot Shot Capacitor Pack. Add 1 to both damage characters of las guns and las pistols this operative is equipped with for the battle. Okay, that's not bad. 1 to damage characters, so you could turn. So okay, so you can turn your las guns into bolters, which isn't bad. Isn't bad, all things considered. Concussion Grenade. This is exactly what I just read over in Into the Dark. This is throw a grenade. You can only throw it once. Everyone pick a point within 6 inches of you. Everyone within 2 inches. On a 4 up, they get -1 to the APL. Frag grenade, crack grenade. No need to read those. Okay, cool. I mean, obviously the Hot Shot Capacitor Pack and the Carapace Armor are just good picks, right? You could easily spend an additional 6 EP just picking them up, so that you can kit out all of your guys to be 4 up saves. That's and have better damage characteristics on the las guns. But I feel like these guys aren't really here to be shooting, really, like, because they're not good. Then, of course, we get all of the equipment, the narrative, great stuff. Now, I did have a quick flick through already, and what are we at? 43 minutes. The Gellerpox. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is exciting stuff. Okay. So I had a quick flick through, and these guys look very interesting. I've got to say, Starstriders, obviously at some point I'm going to sit down and have a proper read through everything I just read through for you there, and a real think about it instead of this off-the-cuff thought, but seems solid, seem possibly quite swingy. I think they will. I think it's going to take someone that's a better player than I, or at least has more time to think about them, to go along and sit down and think about, okay, you want to keep this little group of people together and this little group of people together, and you do this and then you do that, and that's how they always get played. Before I can really say anything, but who knows? I'll go away and think about them, and by the time you've seen this read through, you know. I think this is releasing on the first day. So the Saturday, alongside my Into the Dark read-through and my Into the Dark review. But I will have already done for the rest of this week additional videos, which will indeed be a breakdown, a proper breakdown of the Gellerpox and the Starstriders. So hopefully in there I will say something a little bit more of note than me just kind of waffling here. Rampant Nightmare. Reveal this tackle with the target reveal step of any turning point. Start a Rampant Nightmare tally for your kill team, adding 1 to the tally each time an enemy operative loses a wound as a result of one of your Nightmare Hulk operatives within that enemy operative's engagement range. Nightmare Hulk. That's any of the 4 big guys, I think. I think that includes the big guy. Yes, it does. Okay. So any of your 4 big dudes. If your Rampant Nightmare tally is 30 or more, you score 1 VP. If your Rampant Nightmare tally is 50 or more, you score... Oh, man. That is... Yeah, okay. You're going to have to be doing a lot of killing there, aren't you? You know, I've never sat down and thought to myself, have I done 50 damage in this game? Okay. Interesting. Pestilent Hosts. Reveal this tack-up the first time an enemy operative is incapacitated. Each time an enemy operative is incapacitated, before it is removed from the kill zone, place 1 of your Pestilent Host tokens underneath the base as close as possible to the center of its base. At the end of each turning point, add each Pestilent Host token that friendly Gellerpox Infected operatives control to your Pestilent Host token pool. If the total number of Pestilent Host tokens in your pool is equal to or more than a third of the number of enemy operatives selected for deployment, you score 1 VP. Okay. You know, I'm just going to say it. All of these are seeming very similar. Like, I'm having serious deja vu between what I'm reading here and Into the Dark, which is kind of weird. And then if it's 2/3, you score another VP. Right. Tech Infection. If you must reveal this tech op when a friendly operative performs the Tech Infection action below. If 3 or more objective markers are Tech Infected by your kill team, you score 1 VP. If 4 or more objective markers are Tech Infected by your kill team, you score 1 VP. Friendly Gellerpox Infected operatives can perform the following mission action. Tech Infection, 1 AP. An operative can perform this action while it controls an objective marker that has not been Tech Infected by your kill team. If it does so, that objective... Okay, alright. You know, you hear the word Tech Infection, you're like, wow, this is going to be really interesting. This is going to be super cool. This is going to be, oh, wow. What's this? Like, no, it's just literally a checkbox that allows you to do a thing. Here we go, nice clear page for you to all see. Lovely jubbly, jolly good. Let's get reading. Techno Curse. It's like Techno Viking, but more goth. While an enemy operative is within 3 inches of friendly operatives with this ability, or within 6 inches of friendly glitchling operatives with this ability, subtract 1 from the attack's characteristic of ranged weapons that enemy operative is equipped with. So glitchlings have 6-inch range. Everything else with the word Techno Curse has 3 inches. Glitchlings are these small, or like they're the guys that look like nurglings. They're that kind of size. Revoltingly resilient. The 5-up, feel no pain. Probably could have been called disgustingly resilient, if I'm honest, but that's fine. Whatever. Strategic ploys. 1, 1, 1. Oh, 1 plus CP. Interesting. 1. So they're all 1 CP apart from drawn to the hum, which I guess we'll find out when we get there. Because I've never seen 1 plus CP. Until the end of the turning point, each time a shooting attack is made against a friendly Gellerpox Infected operative, at the end of the roll defense dice step of that shooting attack, if the total results of your discarded failed saves is 7 or more, you can retain 1 failed save as a successful. Okay, so for those unaware, 7 is the sacred number of Nurgle. So you're shot and you roll 3 dice. Let's say you hold on. Because you can't just, oh, let's say I rolled 2 6s. Well, then if you rolled 6s, they would be saves. We're going to have 5-up saves, aren't we? Okay. What this means is, if you roll 2 4s, or a 3 and a 4, you get to, those are the only possible combinations. Oh, unless you fail on all 3 dice, but you shouldn't do that. Then you can change one of them to a success. Interesting. Till the end of the turning point, each time a friendly Gellerpox Infected operative fights in combat, at the end of the roll attack dice step of that combat, if the total results of your discarded failed hits is 3 or more, you can retain 1 failed hit as a successful normal hit. I don't like these types of abilities. Right, if the total results of your discarded failed hits is 3 or more, at the end of the roll, okay. So, what are you hitting on? Are you hitting on 3s, though? 4s? 4s. You're hitting on 4s. Okay, so if you rolled a single 3, you essentially get to convert it. Otherwise, you need a 1 and a 2. Okay, that's more effective than Blessings of Pox, I think. Drawn to the hum, 1 plus CP. Select 1 objective marker. Each friendly Gellerpox Infected operative within 6 inches of it can immediately perform a free dash action, but must finish that move closer to it. Okay. This strategic ploy costs 1 additional CP for each previous time you have used it during the battle, e.g. 1 CP for the first time, 2 for the second. Gosh. What's the point of that? Interesting, I guess. Okay. Weird. Rust Emanations 1 CP until the end of the turning point while an enemy operative is within engagement range of friendly Gellerpox Infected operatives, excluding mutoid vermin operatives. That enemy operative is treated as being injured, regardless of while an enemy engagement range, okay. Regardless of any other rules that say they cannot be injured. Only subtract... Ooh, interesting. That enemy operative is treated as being injured regardless of any rules that say they cannot be injured. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that's cool. Only subtract a circle for their movement characteristic as a result of being injured if they are activated within engagement range of that friendly operative. Okay. That could be cool. That could be cool. So, oh, sorry, I should have... you get security and seek and destroy. You are also, this is very relevant, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 models. Keep that in mind. Because that's not what you are. You're actually you're a 15 model team. I'm going to be honest with you. You're a 15 model team. But we'll get to how that works. So yeah, this is the largest team in the game. But it's also has like 4 of the scariest dudes in the game. So I don't know, man. This is weird. Anyway, tactical ploys. Pollute stockpile 1 CP. Use this tactical ploy at the start of the select equipment step. Select 1 item of equipment from your opponent's faction army list and then select one of the following effects. Your opponent must spend 1 additional equipment point each time they select that item of equipment for the battle. Man, that's crazy. Your opponent can only select that item of equipment for the battle. Hold on. Use this tactical ploy at the start of the select equipment step. So 1 item of equipment from your opponent's faction army list. And select one of the following. Ooh. Man. That's... Okay. That could really screw with some people's equipment lists. I mean, okay, look. Equipment is never that important, but there are some things, like if they have decided to spam, let's say for the Into the Dark, they've decided to just play it simple and put stim on their entire team. You can pollute stockpile, put it on stims, and then all of their stims go from costing 1 CP, EP to costing 2 EP. So they have to get rid of 5 of them. It's really interesting. Gosh. Barge 1 CP. Use this tactical when a friendly Nightmare Hog operative is activated. Until the end of the activation, that operative can move around, across, and over other operatives and their bases as if they were not there, and can perform charge and normal move actions while within engagement range of enemy operatives, but must finish moves following all requirements specified by that move, and cannot finish moves on top of other operatives. So basically, you could just move past other models without caring about them. Okay, seems fine. Right. Putrescent Demise 1 CP. Use this attack to deploy when a friendly Gellerpox Infected operative, excluding a mutoid vermin operative, is incapacitated. Inflict 1 mortal wound or D3 mortal wounds if that friendly operative is a Nightmare Hulk operative. Inflict 1 mortal wound or D3 on each enemy operative visible to and within circle of that friendly operative. Okay, cool. I mean, hey, if one of your big guys is going down, why not D3 them all, you know? Frightening Onslaught 1 CP. Use this tactical ploy after a friendly Nightmare Hulk operative performs a fight action. If that operative is still within engagement range of an enemy operative, you can immediately fight in combat with it again. This does not cost any action points, and you do not have to select the same target. Okay. Cool. Nice. Alright. You are Security and Seek and Destroy. Of course you'd be Seek and Destroy. Right. The data sheets. Let's get to it. Let's crack on. How nuts is this going to be? Okay. Movement 6-inch. APL 2, GA1, Defense 3, Save 5 up, Wounds 19. They're a Hulk. This is the leader. Yeah, it was 19. So you have Pyre Gut, which is a range of 6, Torrent 2, Attack 6, hitting on 2s, 3-3. So it's just, you know, a really good flamer. A heavy flamer, essentially. Flesh Melded Weapons, 5 attacks, hitting on 3s, 4-5, Engineered. So you have both Revoltingly Resilient. They do have Techno Curse, which is something I was wondering. I didn't know who was going to get Techno Curse. Thrice Cursed Hulk. Light terrain and operatives with a wounds characteristic of 15 or less do not provide cover for this operative. So you can't do some weird, always have a, you know, have this guy on a conceal running up the board with like some teeny tiny little nurgling in front of him, which, yeah, is a good choice. Lead the infection in the generate command point step of each strategy phase. If this operative is within circle of an objective marker, it has not tainted. It taints that objective marker and you gain 1 CP. Just boom, get a CP. Amazing. Amazing. Engineered, when this operative is selected for deployment, select up to 2 of the following improvements for this weapon to gain for the battle. +1 to normal, +1 to critical. This is for the flesh metal weapons, to be specific. Balance, brutal, lethal 5 up, rending. It's interesting. So, gosh, I'm sure somebody will sit down and figure this out, but generally, your best bet is lethal 5 up, rending. However, you might prefer to actually get +1 to the crit and lethal 5 up, depending on who you're against. You know, if you're up against someone that you want that crit, if you need over 10 damage or over 9 damage, you probably want to go with a lethal 5 up, so you're guaranteed more crits. And if you want to extend yourself up to the 12 range, you might want to go criticals. I don't know. Interesting. But generally, lethal 5 up rending is kind of always a good thing to do. So, bloat spawn. Or you might want to say normal. Screw it. Normal, balanced, or normal brutal. Normal brutal would also be pretty effective. That would make you 5 damage guaranteed, and you can and you can't be parried at all. So you would, yeah. Interesting. Okay. Bloat spawn. So you're the same as above, except you're 18 wounds. Don't forget, these all have revoltingly resilience, so you are a 5 up, feel no pain, as well as being 18 wounds. Quick maths, you are plus... So you get a third of your points again, hit points again, roughly. So you're going to be about 21, 22 wounds, effectively. But depending on random dice rolling. Mutant Tentacles, 6 attacks, hitting on 4s, 3/4, range 3. Okay, that's fine, that's your ranged. Mutant Claw and Tentacles. You can choose which one you want. Either Grasp and Sash, 6 dice, 6 attack, hitting on 4s, 3/4, or Writhing Swipe, 3 attacks, hitting on 4s, 3/4, swipe. So you're a Nightmare Hulk. Each time this operative would perform a mission action or the pickup action, you must subtract 1 additional action point to do so. Light terrain and operatives with wounds characteristic of 15 or less do not provide cover for this operative. Note that the second half of that, Volgarth Ice Curse also had, and even though he is a Nightmare Hulk, he does not have the first part of the Nightmare Hulk restriction. Tentacle Grasp, each time an enemy operative would perform a fallback action, while within engagement range of this operative, roll 1d6, adding 1 to the result if the enemy operative has a wounds characteristic of 8 or less. On a 4-up, the operative cannot fall back, but the action points subtracted are not refunded. Ooh, haha. Swipe, each time this operative fights in combat with this profile, if it has not been incapacitated, you can fight in combat with this weapon profile against another enemy operative within engagement range of it that has not fought during the action. Note that this means each enemy operative with this operative's engagement range can only be fought once per action. Interesting. The problem is 3 dice hitting on 4s, 3/4 isn't a good profile. It's basically Fusillade, but for melee, and we all know that Fusillade sucks. Okay. Alright, Flesh Screamer. 5 up, 18, yep. Cool, APL 2, 3, 3, yep. Mutant Fist and Cleaver. 5 attacks, hitting on 4s, 5, 6. Or Lopping Blow. 1 attack, hitting on 3, 8, 9. Lethal 5 up. Now that's interesting. That's our biggest hit we've seen so far. But it's also our only attack with 1 dice. If you... Oh, that's an interesting one, isn't it? You know, it means you have a really high kill range, like higher than anything else in the game. But if you basically have to have another CP in the bank so that you can re-roll it, obviously. Interesting. So anyway, we've read Nightmare Hulk, it's the same. Horrifying Shrieking. Each time an enemy operative would perform a mission action or the pickup action while within square 3 inches of this operative, 1 additional action point must be subtracted for that enemy operative to perform that action. When determining control of an objective marker this operative is within circle of, treat enemy operatives' total APL as being 1 less. Note that this is not a modifier. Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. I mean, luckily with this, it's very, very clear when you would ever want to use Lopping Blow. You know, there's no debate on it. It's just, oh, yeah, okay. I know that I will kill you in a single dice. So, therefore, yeah. Lumberghast. Same stuff. Wounds, 18, save, 5 up. Mutant Claw, 4 attacks, hitting on 4, 6, 7, brutal. I will say, all of these guys, apart from Volgar, are hitting on 4s. Like, okay, they also have, you know, we've got 6 attacks here, 5 attacks here, fine. But this guy with 4 attacks, hitting on 4s, it's just not like, you know, Anyway, Spike Charge, 1 AP. Perform a free charge action with this operative. When it finishes that action, each enemy operative within its engagement range suffers D3 mortal wounds. Roll separately for each. Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm saying he's bad. It's just, you might whiff. But you know, hey, screw it. He's got 18 wounds with disgusting resilience, so who cares? Now, you've probably just seen equipment, and you might have seen, oh, that's how they get the rest of their operatives. That's how you become a 15 model team. But we'll get to there in a moment. Gellerpox Mutant. So, you are a 5-up save with 7 wounds. You are movement 4 inches. Classic Nurgle. Classic Nurgs. Are they all Nurgle? They must be. Yeah. Frag Grenade. Attacks 4, 3, 2, 3. Yep, that's a frag grenade. Heavy Axe. 3 attacks, 4 ups, 4, 5. That's pretty good, actually. Improvised Weapon and Mutated Limb. 4 attacks, 4 ups, 2, 3. Relentless. Ooh, okay. Cool. And the Gellerpox Mask. Each time this operative fights in combat or shooting attack is made against it, and you resolve successful hit step of that combat or shooting attack, Each time an attack dice will inflict critical damage on this operative, you can choose for that attack dice to inflict normal damage instead. Nice. And then we get Glitchling. So you are 3 wounds. Amazing. You are GA2. That's cool because you do get 4 of them. Defense 2, so don't get hit. 5 up saves. But you do still have that feel no pain. But with only 3 wounds, who cares? So, Diseased Effluence. 4 attacks, hitting on 4s, 1, 2, range 6. Diseased Nippers. 3 attacks, hitting on 4s, 1, 2. 5 up invul, small. The operative cannot be equipped with equipment. While this operative has a concealed order, it is always treated as having a concealed order, regardless of any other rules. Oh, okay. So, interesting. So, obviously, the point of Glitchling is to use Techno Curse and just run them around and, like, mess with people's attacks. Very cool. I like it. I mean, obviously, as soon as you're there, you will then get charged and killed. But you can essentially not be shot. These guys are tiny. Like, they're the same size as the cat from the Imperial Navy. Like, they're really small. Equipment. Okay. If your faction is Gellerpox Infected, you can select equipment from this list, as specified in the mission sequence. Instead of equipping operatives with it, however, this equipment is mutoid vermin operatives you have for the battle. Note, it is still equipment, e.g. a narrative plate must be added to your stash. Each item of equipment can only be selected a maximum of 4 times for each battle. Cursemite. You gain a Cursemite operative for the battle. The first time you select this equipment for each battle, it costs 3 EP, otherwise it costs 2 EP. You gain an Eye Stinger Swarm operative for the battle. The first time you select this equipment for each battle, it costs 3 EP, otherwise it costs 2 EP. Same for the Sludge Grub. The data cards are in the next one. Mutoid Vermin. This operative can only perform universal actions, excluding pickup. You can perform the fallback action for 1 less AP to a minimum of 1. It cannot perform any other actions. So you get to fallback for 1, basically. All other operatives can perform the fallback action for 1 less AP if they are only within engagement range of enemy mutoid vermin. Oh, okay, so you can fall back for 1 AP, but equally, your opponent that you have charged can fall back for 1. This operative cannot control objective markers or tokens and cannot score you or your opponent victory points. It is ignored for these purposes, e.g. when determining condition for attack op. This operative cannot be equipped with equipment. It is not added to your roster. Interesting. Okay. So that's actually really big for this team, because it means that yes, you are going to be able to swarm them, but they're not going to be able to rack up kills against you as like a way of scoring VPs. That's very interesting. So all of these guys suck. They're all 2 wounds, 5 up saves, defense 2. Yeah. So we'll do the Cursemite first. So they are also GA2 then. Oh, is the yeah, the Gellerpox mutant was GA2 as well, which is fine, but it's 3 models. So Blood-sucking Proboscis, 2 attacks, hitting on 4s, 2, 3. Feast, Rending. Feast. Each time this operative fights in combat with this weapon against an enemy operative that has fewer than its starting number of wounds, this operative gains the following improvements for that combat. Add 1 to its attacks. Gain the lethal 5 up. Oh, okay. Fewer. Okay. Yeah, cool. Eye Stinger Swarm. Movement 3, APL 2, GA2, Defense 2, save 5 up, wounds 2. Swarm, so 6 inch range, 5 attacks, hitting on 6s, 0, 0, stun, no cover. Okay. Sting, 5 attacks, hitting on 5s, 1, 2, stun. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how to use these guys, but that's kind of the point of them, isn't it? Like, so you might want to spam Eye Stinger Swarms because you know that you want to run them up and just mess with people's APL. Just make it really difficult to let your opponent do anything, right? Like, you don't want to be doing damage. You want to mess with their APL. Or a Sludge Grub. So you've got, yep, Acid Spit. Oh, you have movement of only 4 inch, by the way. Acid Spit, 4 attacks, hitting on 4s, 2, 2, range 6, AP 1, splash 1. That's actually not terrible, let's be honest. Splash is great, which makes it realistically a 2, 3. And it's got AP 1. You might actually do some damage with this guy. Caustic Demise, if this operative is incapacitated, roll 1d6 for each enemy operative visible to and within circle of it. On a 4-up, that enemy operative suffers 1 mortal wound. Obviously, it's very slow, though. I want to say you only get 2 of these in the box. So you can't spam them hugely. But let's go back to here. So the first time you select each of these, it's 3 EP. And from there on, it's 2. So in reality, what you're probably going to end up doing is, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Except you'll probably take this one just to get another EP in there. Your final equipment pick will be a different one. So it's entirely possible you go, let's say, actually, yeah, I love the idea of whatever, Eye Stinger Swarm spam. So I'm going to pick 1, 2, 3, and then, yeah, I really want that Sludge Grub 4. So that's 4 operatives. And you are base 11 models. You are a 15 model team. Potentially you're not, but I think in reality you are. Experienced players, let me know. So, Critical Operations Multiplayer Mission Pack. Right, here we go. Table 1. Here we go. Hold on. Right, I've got to rearrange everything so that I can do this properly. The missions on the following pages allow you to play games of Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team with 3 or 4 players in them. In them, players will share the same mission rules and mission objectives. The scoring parameters of the mission objectives vary across the mission pack, so having an expansive roster will allow you to select the right operatives for the mission at hand. They have been designed so that tactical play is rewarded, therefore they are suited to match play, but can be used with any of the 3 ways to play. These missions use the multiplayer mission rule described opposite this thing here. And then it tells you how to randomly determine. Multiplayer. If a kill team battle uses the multiplayer mission rule, the following additional rules take effect for the battle. Player order. Some rules specify player order which will establish players as first, second, third, etc. To establish player order, all players roll 1d6. The player with the highest result is first, the player with the second result, highest result is second, and so on. If 2 or more players have a tied result, those players keep rolling until an order is established between them. So this could, end up in a situation where actually the re-rollers end up with a higher number, but that doesn't matter. It's only determining the order of the 2 re-rollers, or the 3 re-rollers. Whoever had the highest from the initial roll is still going first. Kill zone. Multiplayer battles use 2 kill team game boards combined along the long edge, creating a 30 by 44 area. When determining which kill zone is in use, players should use 1 kill zone for each game board, ensuring the terrain is suitably placed across both game boards. It's a bit of a shame that it says you should use 1 kill zone for each game board, because it would be nice to, obviously you could just home roll this, but use Into the Dark alongside Octarius, Drop zones and setup. In the select drop zone step, establish player order. The first player selects one of the drop zones first, followed by the second player, and so on. In the setup operative step, that same first player sets up first, followed by that second player, and so on. So if you pick the deployment zone, you also pick deployment first. Cool. TAC ops and victory points. Now this is the big change. Let's make sure you can definitely see there's no glare from a light there. TAC ops are designed for 2 players playing on a 30 by 22 inch area. Therefore, we do not recommend their use in multiplayer battles. Instead, each player can score a maximum of 18 victory points from the mission objective, instead of 12. Designers notes, if all players agree, they can use TAC ops with their own adjustments to the multiplayer rules, perhaps by restricting certain TAC ops, e.g. removing those that do not function in multiplayer battles. Scouting and initiative. Players do not complete the scouting step. Initiative, the first turning point, is the player order. From the select drop zone step. The first player has the initiative, and actions for the turning point are then completed in player order. For example, the first player would activate first, followed by the second player, and so on. In subsequent turning points, determine player order again. If a player has a rule that would allow them to re-roll or modify the dice when determining initiative, they can use this rule when rolling 1d6 to determine player order in the initiative phase. So a little bit of a simplification and streamlining of it, so that's nice. So, ABC. Okay, so the first 3 are all 3 player, and the second 3 are all 4 player. Cool. Now, I'm not really going to read through these. I don't think it matters, what the actual missions are. I think it was the multiplayer facet of this that was of interest to us. So there you go. If you want to play multiplayer, hey, great, you have rules now. I think it's actually going to be really interesting to see how Kill Team plays on 2 boards. It's obviously going to be a big buff for long range, big nerf to 6-inch range stuff. Plasma, as always, will reign supreme. Classic. Alright, let's power through to the next one. This is the Last Stand mission pack. Again, I am going to read this out. So the missions found in this section are thematic, asymmetrical missions that use a unique mission rule called Last Stand, where a defending kill team must hold off a numerically superior enemy for as long as possible. The defender's eventual defeat is inevitable, but how they make their last stand is still to be determined. There you go. It's suitable for open play, not match play. Very sad, very sad. Although you can make match play out of anything, frankly. Last Stand missions for the Shadow Operations Last Stand mission pack use the Last Stand mission rules, which creates a battle where one kill team is outnumbered and must hold off the other for as long as possible. If a mission uses the Last Stand mission rule, the following additional rules take effect for the battle. Defensive position. In the setup the kill zone step, the players gather the terrain features and set them up as specified below, repeating this process until all terrain features have been set up. 1. The defender selects 3 terrain features that have not been set up yet and places them into a pool. If less than 3 remain, they select as many as possible. 2. The attacker selects 1 terrain feature from that pool and sets it up. They cannot set it up within 6 inches of the defender's drop zone, and heavy terrain cannot be set up within 3 inches of each other. The defender sets up the remaining terrain features from the pool. They cannot set them up within 6 inches of the attacker's drop zone, and heavy terrain cannot be set up within 3 inches of each other. In the setup operative step, the attacker must set up their operatives first, and they must do so wholly within their drop zone. They cannot use any rules that allow them to set up operatives elsewhere. Oh, quick sip of water, sore throat. Okay. Superior numbers. In the ready operative step of each turning point, the attacker can roll 1d6 for each friendly operative that is incapacitated and removed from the kill zone, adding 1 to the result for each preparing token that operative has, if any. On a 1 to 3, that operative gains... Oh my god, what? On a 1 to 3, that operative gains a preparing token for future rolls. On a 4+, remove all preparing tokens that operative has. Then the attacker sets that operative up again within 1 inch of their kill zone edge with an engage or conceal order. Any equipment they had earlier in the battle is removed. At the end of the ready operative step of each turning point, the attacker can select any friendly operatives that have fewer than half of their wounds remaining to be removed from the kill zone as incapacitated. Okay, fair enough. Preparing. Alright. Designers note, in narrative play, the attacker's operatives are standard warriors for this battle rather than an elite kill team. Oh, okay, interesting. As such, the attacker should not use a narrative data slate or narrative data cards for this battle, ignore battle honours, battle scars, experience, etc. Assume they are different operatives altogether, albeit of the same type. Note, however, that the defender can use narrative data slates and narrative data cards as normal, and their total battle honours do not provide any additional command points or equipment points to the attacker. Okay. Mission critical. TAC ops are not in use. In addition, the battle does not end after 4 turning points. Instead, the battle ends when the attacker achieves the mission objective. This means the defender cannot win. It is only a matter of time until the attacker manages to wear them down and achieve victory! ! This is the idea of Last Stand missions, to determine how long the defender can survive. We recommend keeping track of how many turning points the defender can prevent the attacker from achieving victory, as well as how many wounds the attacker's operatives lose. Then, players can repeat the battle, swapping the role of attacker and defender, and compare their results. Last Stand assets. At the start of the setup barricade step, before setting up barricades, the defender selects 4 Last Stand assets from those presented on pages 20 to 21. Each Last Stand asset can be selected a maximum of once per game. Tokens for Last Stand assets should be placed before players set up barricades. Last Stand assets. Let's move my microphone across so you can still hear me without it being weird. Some of the assets presented here will specify making shooting attacks against Operatives in such instances, for the purposes of the shooting sequence, the player controlling the target operative is the defender and their opponent is the attacker. Tactical ploys, including command reroll, see the Kill Team core book, cannot be used for attack dice rolled for these shooting attacks. Ammo cache. Place one of your ammo cache tokens anywhere in the kill zone that is more than 6 inches from the attacker's drop zone and not on a terrain feature. Yep. Oh, unless it has the insignificant trait or is on a vantage point. Oh, so you can put an ammo cache on a vantage point. Each time a friendly operative makes a shooting attack within 2 inches of your ammo cache token, in the roll attack dice step of that shooting attack, you can re-roll one of your attack dice. Barbed wire. Place 2 of your barbed wire tokens anywhere in the kill zone that is within 2 inches of each other, more than 6 inches from the attacker's drop zone, and not on a terrain feature, unless it has the insignificant trait. Draw an imaginary line 1 mil wide between the center of those tokens, known as the barbed wire line. If the barbed wire line crosses a terrain feature, set up those tokens again elsewhere. Each time an operative that cannot fly performs a charge or dash action, it cannot move across a barbed wire line. Each time an operative that cannot fly performs any other action which it moves, if it would move across a barbed wire line, subtract a circle from the distance it can move during that action. Electrified terrain. Select one light terrain feature in the kill zone that is more than 6 inches from the attacker's drop zone. Defense dice cannot be automatically retained as a result of cover from that terrain feature. They must be rolled instead. In addition, unless they can fly, operatives cannot climb or traverse that terrain feature, finish a move with their base touching it, or perform any actions unique to that terrain feature that would allow an operative to move over it, e.g. scramble over in Killzone Octarius. Gas bomb. Ooh, man, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Needless to say, I'm going to move on because this is going to make everything take forever. I apologize. Regardless, I don't think, if I can be honest with you, here's the pages. You can read the pages. There you go, you're welcome. This is not good content. So I think that quite genuinely, this sort of thing should be summarized and then told. I don't think me reading out entire pages of text is good, right? Sorry, I should have been more sure of who I am as a person and moved on from that. We then get these. It's such a shame because I think these are all really cool. There you go. And here's some cool ideas for what all of these different things can be, barbed wire lines, etc. Very cool, very nice. I approve. Nice. Nice. Sentries. We've actually seen the Sentries mission pack. Again, for anyone that is new to this, the Sentries mission pack turned up in a white dwarf. And so we've already been over that. There you go. Right. Now the kill team. So we get access to Elucidian Starstriders, Gellerpox Infected, Warp Coven, Hunterclade, Wormblade, Void Dancer Troop. Very nice. I haven't actually looked at the Hunterclade, Wormblade, Void Dancer or Warp Coven to see if there have been any updates or if they have legitimately been copy-pasted, including their errors from the White Dwarf. I believe I know one error from the Hunterclade, so shall I check that now? Page 98, okay? I know there's one attack stat that was incorrect with them. So let's go and see if it still is. And that's going to be our metric for the entire book. What do you think? Oh, so you know what? The change to how their doctrinas work was so new. I would be shocked if this has changed. Different imperative, whichever comes first. You can select one imperative token to kill the imperative actions at the end of the battle. Each imperative has yeah, okay. Yeah. So they haven't changed that, but that's expected. But I know that one of them was wrong day one when it came out of White Dwarf. Attacks 5. Okay. No, so I think they've updated that. So they have updated the very clear typo at the very least. Okay, awesome. Wow. Well, there you go. That's the Kill Team Annual. Let's get this set up in a nice, weird way so you can see this again. There you go. Gosh. This has been an hour and 10, and I think I'm going to really enjoy playing these two teams. I don't know which I'm going to prefer. I suspect Gellerpox Infected, just for the big guys, just for how big and crazy they're going to be. I think the Elucidian Starstriders, they're going to be really interesting for, I think, their support abilities, the privateer support assets. Like, those are some big weapons. Yeah. I can also see, I suspect a lot of people will get the Gellerpox and they play them, and they will very quickly get tired of them because their big guys are going to whiff way more than they think. Because you're only 4 attacks hit, or you're hitting on 4s, you can be parried away to the point that your enemy can just rip into you. And you know what? Okay, yes, you're 18 wounds. A couple of power weapons in there, they're going to chunk you up nice and good. But with that said, I think the annual is a great place to start the game. I think the annual plus Into the Dark is really good, and I will say, in addition, in aid of Into the Dark, I should have said this in the previous Man Reads book, but for Into the Dark, I think another reason why people should be supportive of it, like the competitive community should be supportive of it, is that I would hope a lot of people are going to get into the game using Into the Dark. And so if they buy that and then they immediately find out, oh yeah, nobody uses this terrain, you've just bought a useless box, then a lot of people, it's going to turn a lot of people away. So I would hope that people are generally quite on board with the whole kind of, being supportive of the Into the Dark terrain, not just from a, are the rules good, but also from a, hey, we would love to play this, even if we don't, because we can't, because it's not practically possible. But yeah, there you go. Anyway, that's the annual. Let me know what you guys think. Again, I think that these releases are an absolute unmitigated win for the narrative players out there, for the casual players. I think this is great. But likewise, I mean, 4 new teams. That's 5 new teams this month alone because of the intercessors. Crazy. Like, really good. And there are going to be people that started playing Kill Team and missed some of these white dwarfs, and now they get access to them, which is really good. And I'm glad that I have them finally in paperback as well, because I had missed one of them, but also, much in the same way that I liked Index 40k or the Compendium, I like having multiple teams in one book. So, hey, you could validly just buy the annual. You don't need anything. The annual and the core rulebook. This gives you access to 6 teams. This is more than enough. You could take this as a closed environment game at this point, Like, Into the Dark, annual, done. You don't need to buy anything else. Anyway, guys, this has been Glass Half Dead. This will be my second Man Reads book of the day. I've been reading books now for 2.5 hours, so I'm probably going to stop. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. What do you think of these 2 teams? Hopefully by the time you guys have watched this, I've already recorded and edited and have scheduled to upload during the week my breakdowns of them. So go ahead, and if you made it all the way through in this podcast style format, let me know what you think of them. It will be too late for me to edit my videos, but it'd be interesting to know anyway. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching. This has been Glass Half Dead. Much love, stay safe, goodbye.